You know, when we think of Tom Hanks, we think of trust, right? He's like this global symbol of decency. But what if I told you that feeling isn't an accident? It's a system, a framework he built to master trust. And it's not just for actors, it's a blueprint for creating real, authentic connection that you can use, well, just about anywhere. And it all started with one massive career-defining risk, a moment that literally changed everything.
The year is 1993, and you gotta picture Tom Hanks back then. He's America's funny guy, right? The star of Splash and Big, but he's about to do something that could completely derail his career. He's taking on the lead role in Philadelphia, playing a lawyer with AIDS. And look, back then this wasn't just another serious role. This was a cultural lightning rod. And he was the charming guy from the movie with the giant piano. The stakes couldn't have been higher.
I mean, this was a huge gamble. He'd built his entire brand on being this lovable, funny guy you'd want to hang out with. And now, this. It was a potential career killer, for sure. He was stepping right into the middle of a deeply sensitive story, right at the height of the AIDS crisis, a time filled with so much fear and misunderstanding. So the risk, it wasn't just about his career. It felt personal. And yeah, the whole world was watching to see what would happen.
But here's the thing. In that fire, in that moment of incredible risk, he didn't just find a great role. He discovered a philosophy. He basically codified a system. And that system, it didn't just win him his first Oscar. Oh no. It completely redefined his entire career and set a whole new standard for what a leading man could even be. This is where he found it, the framework for mastering trust and winning hearts.
All right, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll dive into that 1993 pivot. Then we'll see how he forged his moral anchor. After that, it's the Hanks framework itself, followed by his authenticity machine. We'll wrap up by looking at his legacy as the everyman hero and what we're calling the genius of kindness. Let's get into it.
Okay, first up, the 1993 pivot. This was a seismic shift in his career. Look, choosing to do Philadelphia was probably the single biggest decision he ever made professionally. But the real genius wasn't just, hey, I'm gonna do a serious movie now. No, it was the moment he deliberately committed to a whole new way of working, a philosophy that would become his signature.
And this wasn't some happy accident, you know? It was a deep, systematic realization. Hanks figured out that his real superpower wasn't just being funny or being dramatic. It was his incredible ability to project this unwavering authenticity, this fundamental goodness that people just trusted. He knew that for a character like Andrew Beckett, someone the audience might already have biases against, he had to strip away all the acting and ground him in a goodness that everyone could recognize. That became his new playbook.
So, this brings us to forging that moral anchor, the roots of his framework. You have to ask, right? Where does this need for a system even come from? Well, to really get the framework, you have to get the man behind it, because the professional solution he found was born out of a really deep, personal need for stability.
So, his childhood was famously chaotic. His family was always on the move, and they gave him this lifelong craving for stability and connection. Then you've got his career, where he was getting stuck in this box of being the funny guy. He was typecast. So to break out, he started systematically searching for roles that needed real sincerity, not just a good punchline. And in that search, he figured out how to put a character's inherent decency front and center. He literally turned his own personal search for an anchor into the anchor his characters provided for all of us.
Which brings us to the heart of it all, the Hanks framework. This is where his gut instinct becomes a real method. See, he wasn't just winging it. He developed a repeatable system for using decency as a powerful storytelling tool, almost like a secret weapon for forging that deep, lasting connection with the audience.
So what is it exactly? Well, the Hanks framework is all built on one core idea. Decency isn't just a nice, passive quality. No, it's an active, strategic tool you use to master trust and win hearts. And how does he do it? By being fundamentally honest and emotionally available. It's like he's inviting us into the story, making us partners, not just viewers. And that creates this incredible bond of trust.
Okay, so how does he actually pull this off? The whole framework rests on 3 key pillars of trust. These are the principles that make sure every single performance builds on that trust. So let's really dig into these, because this is where the secret sauce is.
Pillar number 1 is the Relatability Protocol. And this is like his golden rule. It doesn't matter if he's playing an astronaut or a guy stranded on an island. He always finds and builds in this core of recognizable human goodness. I mean, think about Castaway. He's alone for most of that movie. We stick with him because his struggle is so decent. He's not a superhero.
He's just a guy trying to get home to the women he loves, and his best friend is a volleyball named Wilson. The key here isn't making characters perfect, it's making them fundamentally good, because that's what opens the door for us to feel what they're feeling. Okay, pillar 2 is honestly kind of radical. It's the Subtractive Performance Mandate. This is all about resisting the urge to act. Instead of adding a bunch of dramatic flair, he strips it all the way. Think about the end of Captain Phillips, when he's being treated for shock. There's no big speech, it's just tremors, stammers, broken words. He subtracts everything that looks like a performance, until all that's left is raw, undeniable emotion. And because of that, it feels so earned, so real it's almost hard to watch.
And the final pillar, the Historical Integrity Doctrine. When he plays a real person, whether it's Jim Lovell in Apollo 13 or Mr. Rogers, he is absolutely meticulous about getting it right. And we're not just talking about an accent, it's about capturing the soul of the person. In Saving Private Ryan, it's that deep-down exhaustion and quiet strength of a captain who has seen way too much. He honors the real story, the real people, and by being such a trustworthy guide to history, he earns our trust even more. We just know we're in good hands with him.
Okay, so that's the philosophy, right? But how does he actually do it? On set, day in and day out. This is where we go from the what to the how, the actual systems that make these pillars come to life. This is the authenticity machine in action.
So look at this comparison. It really nails it. Traditional acting often means showing big emotions. You see the effort, the dramatic gestures. But the Hanks method is all about what he takes away. It's this ruthless subtraction. He aims for this profound stillness that kind of creates a space for us, the audience, to pour our own feelings into. It's so much more powerful, right? He gives you just enough, and your own empathy does the rest of the work.
And he has 2 core systems that make this all possible. First up, the Unforced timing and Cadence protocol. This is where all his early comedy work becomes his secret weapon in dramas. The guy has an incredible ear for the rhythm of a line. Just listen to his delivery in Forrest Gump. That unique cadence isn't just a funny voice, it's perfectly timed to make these huge, profound ideas sound simple and true. And second, there's the physical immersion and detail acquisition. He does the work, the hard, unglamorous stuff. He actually learned to fly the lunar module simulator for Apollo 13. He dropped 55 pounds for Castaway. This isn't just method acting for the sake of it. It's another way he builds trust. We believe him because we know he put in the hours.
So when you do this, when you apply this framework over and over again for decades, what you get isn't just a bunch of hit movies. You get a legacy. You completely change what an audience expects from a hero. And you build this bond of trust with the public that is, it's almost unheard of today.
And this timeline just lays it all out, doesn't it? He starts in the 80s as the funny, relatable guy in movies like Big. Then bam, the 1993 pivot with Philadelphia. And through the 90s and 2000s, he becomes the moral center of cinema. He'd step into these really complex, sometimes dark stories and be our reliable, decent guide through them. And now, he's not just an actor, he's a global symbol of integrity, a title he earned by systematically keeping his promise to be authentic year after year. All right, so we've broken down the framework, the systems, the legacy. What's the big takeaway here? What can we learn from this incredible career that we can actually use in our own work, our own lives, anytime we're trying to connect with people?
So yeah, what is the ultimate lesson from the Hanks framework? It sounds like a simple question, but the answer is anything but. It goes way beyond just fame and awards. It's about a fundamental truth about human connection that he didn't just understand, he mastered. Here it is. The big lesson is that the highest form of genius is kindness. Or, to put it in the terms of his framework, it's decency. It's the simple, systematic, and relentless decision to be fundamentally good. That's what creates the most powerful, lasting impact. It's choosing to be that moral anchor. At the end of the day, his framework is really a blueprint to master trust and win hearts. And it works because it combines 2 incredible forces: that unforced, authentic emotion with the technical perfection of an expert's timing. It really proves that being genuine isn't just some vague feeling. It's a skill, a discipline.
And that brings us to the final, most important takeaway. What Tom Hanks has proven, really beyond a shadow of a doubt, is this: true relatability is the ultimate key to professional immortality. It's about systematically grounding everything you do in decency, cutting out all the noise, and committing to being someone people can trust. Because in the end, that's the only thing that really lasts.